Let's talk about Russia and Ukraine. Leaders of both the countries are expected to sit down for direct peace talks for the first time in 3 long years. It's not written in stone yet, but they are hinting towards it. It started with Russian President Vladimir Putin rejecting a 30-day ceasefire, but offering to hold direct peace talks with Ukraine. Soon after, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky responded, saying he's willing to meet face-to-face with his counterpart. The date is set as 15th of May, which is this Thursday, and US President Donald Trump is also thinking of attending the talks. One thing that is common in all of these statements is Turkey. The peace talks are expected to take place in a country that has donned the mediator's hat for 3 years. How has Turkey mediated between Russia and Ukraine? What is Turkey gaining out of this diplomacy? Should the world look at Ankara with alarm or awe? I'm Ananya Dutta, and you're watching Grey Zone. Turkey has come to become a unique player. Erdogan was the first leader to visit both Kiev and Moscow, rallying his message of peace. He realized before anyone that in every war, the path to peace goes through a peace table. And President Erdogan wanted to host this table, knowing very well it will shoot Turkey to global spotlight. Russia declared war against Ukraine on 24th of February 2022. Turkey was one of the first to take steps for a de-escalation. Ankara called both Kiev and Moscow to resolve the conflict through dialogue and offered to mediate. This early thinking prompted the first attempt at resolving the war. In March of 2022, Istanbul hosted the first high-level contact between Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Ukraine's then Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. They had even appeared to agree on a tentative deal, but multiple reports and leaders privy to the conversation said that the West forced Ukraine to abandon the talks.
The terms that Ukraine could have gotten 3 years ago on April 15th, 2022 in the Istanbul process were better terms than they can get now. And the United States talked them out of it, and Zelensky abandoned the negotiations 3 years ago.
But Turkey's efforts did not falter. Within 4 months, Ankara brokered a deal which would go on to become one of the most crucial diplomatic triumphs, the Black Sea Grain Initiative. In July of 2022, the world faced a food security threat because of the war in Ukraine. The conflict had disrupted global grain exports. Over 345 million faced acute food insecurity, and 50 million were on the brink of famine. So Turkey spoke to both sides, convincing them to allow exports through the Black Sea. In September same year, Turkey mediated a major prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia. Kiev agreed to send back 55 prisoners, and in exchange, Moscow released 215 of the enemy soldiers. Since then, Erdogan has become a diplomatic powerhouse, arranging high-level talks and bridging the gap between warring parties, one meeting at a time. Turkey's mediation strategy is not recent but results from a sustained foreign policy spanning several decades. At a time when the US is shifting its stance, Europe is struggling to unite, and the war is becoming the new normal, Ankara's idle host tag is something to fall back on. But it comes with its own strings attached. The risk of the conflict spilling over into the Black Sea basin is real and has been real for quite some time. It threatens Turkey's northern frontier by inviting Russian dominance in the Black Sea. And that is why Ankara was one of the fiercest voices in favor of Ukraine's NATO membership bid and reportedly supplied TB2 drones to the country. You see, this is a region where Turkey has maintained its strategic leverage and been a core asset of NATO. And geopolitical leverage has always come with political standing. But to keep its balancing act intact, Ankara also refused to join NATO sanctions against Russia and kept its airspace open for Russian aircraft. Also, there's no doubt that Turkey sees this conflict as a test case for its ability to act independently of both Russia as well as the West, while shaping major geopolitical outcomes. And it is hoping, strongly hoping, the US notices this. Because after the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria and yesterday's disbanding of the PKK, there is no bone of contention between Washington and Ankara. So an end to the war will raise Erdogan's stature in Trump's eyes. And it seems like it's already working.
And don't underestimate Thursday in Turkey. President Erdogan is going to be a great host. And we are doing some work with him having to do with Syria, too, by the way. We're going to have to make a decision on the sanctions, which we may very well relieve. We may take them off of Syria because we want to give them a fresh start.
The meeting between Russia and Ukraine could be the table-turning moment we all have been waiting for. But the real story may be who is setting this table. Last week, Turkey jointly convinced Pakistan to stop attacking India. And today, it might be bringing Kiev and Moscow face to face. Has Erdogan perfected the art of mediation? This is something we have to think about. We had earlier done a story on why Zelensky should sidestep Trump and take the conversation straight to Putin. The answer to a peaceful future lies in the chaos of the past. Do check out that story. For now, I'm Ananya Dutta. I'll see you next time.